Hey buddies, Mspuggy here, coming at you with another Borderlands 3 video. Today I'm going to be showing you the new black market location for November 11th and showcasing what each and every single weapon can do. After I show you the location of the machine, I'll be going back to Sanctuary. I'll be showing how much damage you can deal with the weapons and each of their effects in depth. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You have no idea how much it helps me out. And let's get into it.
Legendary? Whoa! No way, dude!
So first things first, the location of the black market machine is going to be on Promethea today. It's going to be on everyone's favorite map, the Skywell 27th, and it's actually going to be right outside of Katagawa's boss fight arena, which is right here, right outside this dead claptrap. Just for some familiarity, basically you're going to be immediately after you drop into the dumpster area over here, you're going to run up all the way over here. Now there's no fast travel stations that are nearby here, so it does take about 3 to 2 minutes to actually get up here. So it's kind of a longer trek. Pretty much what you want to do is just run all the way over here, and then it's going to be in this little base area right here. And then what we're going to do is just walk into this room, and the black machine is right there very easily. And just before I forget, the location is right here on the map. I'm going to zoom all the way out. And the items that are in the black market machine is going to be the Redistributor, which is actually a pretty good weapon. Personally, I feel like it's mainly for mobbing, so don't expect to get crazy amounts of boss damage with this gun, but you certainly can. It's most favorable for Zanes, only because of a popular build that was created with this gun. And then next we have the Hyperfocus XZ41. This weapon acts kind of like the conference call, but only when it hits the target. I'll showcase more a little bit on that. I personally don't think it's that great of a weapon, but you certainly can buy it if you want some fun little niche gun. And then the Doc, which is a pretty okay pistol. It does some decent splash damage on its bullets after it hits the enemies, but generally there's better splash damage options out there. So if you're a Moze, you can certainly make it work because splash damage is the name of the game for her. But now that I showed the location, let's actually go to Sanctuary and test all the weapons. So the first weapon I want to focus on is going to be the Hyperfocus, no pun intended. This is generally called the XZ41 only because the Hyperfocus is a fixed prefix on all the guns. It is a bit bizarre, but it does have other prefixes as well. It can spawn in all the elements, but 48% of them are going to be non-elemental, aka kinetic, and all the other elements are going to spawn with around a 10% drop rate. It's a Hyperion weapon, so that of course means it's going to have a shield. The shield can reflect melee and projectiles back to the target. Pretty much when you hit the target, it's going to ricochet the bullets to left and right, which if it hits a wall close enough, it's going to ricochet off the wall. But if the wall is too far away, it will not ricochet off the wall, as shown right here. So you have to be really close to even get the ricocheting effect. Pretty much it's a okay weapon. It's very nice and pretty to look at, especially if you're Moze, which has lots of amp shots, or you have an amp shot build. It's definitely really cool looking, but the conference call and this gun is definitely more of a niche thing. If you wanted a gun like the conference call, I would definitely just use the conference call instead of this one. It's nothing to write home about, I'll be honest, but it is pretty to look at least when attacking the Jack Dummy. Next is going to be a fan favorite, which is the Redistributor. The Redistributor has an interesting effect that I don't think I'll be able to show with the Jack clone, so I will have to go out into the field to show the effect a little bit better. But pretty much right here, it tells you that every 7th shot is going to be amped, and this amp shot can chain to nearby enemies, which is very good. This amp shot deals weapon element damage to the nearby enemies. I don't believe the chain effect is splash damage, but you guys could correct me in the comments down below. It can spawn in every element except non-elemental, so you cannot get a kinetic version of this gun. You can get fire, shock, corrosive, cryo, radiation. I would have preferred it if I got a fire version, but generally this weapon is pretty good at mobbing. It doesn't deal great amount of damage with mobbing, but you can kind of see the amp shot very closely right here with the little streak of blue right here, only because it's cryo. I am actually going to go into the field real quick so you can see the amp shots in action. So now that I'm in an area with enemies around, I'm going to shoot this enemy, and you will see occasionally the shots will chain to other enemies. So right here, it's kind of hard to see because Moze has lots of explosion with her short fuse, but let me go over here, maybe it'll be easier to see. So right there, do you see the little tether that's connecting the enemies there for a few seconds? That's pretty much the chain shot that is happening. It happens pretty quickly because of the fact that this weapon does shoot really, really fast. It's definitely a really awesome ability for mobbing. Generally with bossing, you won't be able to get this effect only because of the fact that normally bosses will only be the one boss, but if there's a boss that has multiple enemies around it or even spawns 2 bosses, it's pretty decent there. Generally, I would say that it's a pretty good weapon, but once again, if you're expecting it to deal crazy amounts of damage against bosses, I would look elsewhere. Of course, you can make it deal crazy amounts of damage to bosses if you optimize your build around it, but you can definitely do a lot better with other weapons, but it's an excellent mobbing choice. And finally, we have the duck. This one is a bit of more of a plain Jane. It can only spawn in kinetic, so non-elemental all around. It deals splash damage with its bullets, which is very, very nice, but it cannot spawn with any splash anointments, so don't worry about getting that. Pretty much what it does is when you shoot it, it's going to shoot a little sticky grenade on the actual target, like right here, kind of like the Kyosin, which is a fan favorite for a lot of characters. It's going to explode after 1 second and deals pretty decent damage since I'm Moze. If you were another character, I don't think the amount of damage it deals is kind of worth it, but since it's a Jacob, it can ricochet those shots to 2 nearby targets and put a sticky on them as well. So you could, in theory, do pretty decent with it on Flak, but generally it's kind of a weapon. Definitely dealt a lot of damage with this gun, and sometimes a lot more than the Redistributor on my Moze, but only because Moze has crazy amounts of splash damage multipliers. But besides that, this gun isn't really anything to write home about. Like in a couple of seconds, I could probably kill Grave Ward very, very easily with this gun, only because of the fact of the splash damage multipliers we have with Moze. But I could definitely kill Grave Ward a lot quicker with another weapon. It's definitely an weapon, I would say. And to pretty much recap, the only gun I would really recommend getting from this week is going to be the Redistributor. The other 2 are very niche weapons. They're not going to really do too much for you. The Redistributor is just a really good weapon that you should probably get in Shock and Fire, because those are usually the 2 best elements for the Redistributor, or even Radiation, but personally I've seen more Fire and Shock success when I use it. Don't waste your money on the other 2, but as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope y'all have a great day. Bye bye.
And the last shall be first to immerse in a pass out heat, facing him up with a moxie melt till he woke up drowning in tchotchke hell. War in a cave with a torch on the wall, then a window arrangement of porcelain dolls.